It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Oh, man, here we go again. You ready for this?
What do you got?
I just happen to see this story.
Okay.
Fred Ryan, publisher and CEO of the Washington Post, announced that he is stepping down after 9 years at the Post. He cited a decline in civility in political discourse and more broadly across our society for his decision to lead the Post, to lead the newly created nonpartisan Center on Public Civility, launched by the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute.
Okay.
In an earlier era, political leaders on opposite sides of the aisle could find common ground for the good of the country. Today, the decline in civility has become a toxic and corrosive force that threatens our social interactions and weakens the underpinnings of our democracy. I feel a strong sense of urgency about this issue. With all due civility, shut up!
Yeah, get out. We don't need your civility. Nobody likes civility.
No, but you know what I love about this? What I really get the biggest kick out of, and at the same time irks me, therefore the shut up, is they make it sound like they need to have this panel. We're going to have a newly created organization and pour money into it to figure out why we can't have civility, as if there's this complicated algorithm or something that we must search to find out why there is such a lack of civility. Well, I'll tell you why. The insanity of the left's positions.
Yeah.
We could find compromise before.
Well, see,
a biological man is a biological woman.
Where's the compromise?
No, that's not true. That's not true. Let me ask you some questions. No, you want people to die because you're asking questions. All right, where is the compromise here? Where do I make a compromise on that?
Well, that's it. I mean, this whole idea of we're not going to be left or right. We're going to be about compromise, where people can come together. Well, blah, blah, blah. I saw somebody yesterday, by the way, because there was heavy promotion of Gavin Newsom being on Sean Hannity. Well, see, it just shows he's willing to have a civil conference. No, he's not. I mean, it's going to be the back and forth that it ended up being. It was always going to be that. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't civil, but it wasn't the, well, you know, Sean, I see your point. You know what I mean? That's what it sounded like. That's what a couple of people yesterday on social media were saying. And this is this idea that, we'll see if we could just have more civil conversations and it would be just, okay. Liberal transgender movement. Men can't give birth. Ready? Go.
Yeah.
And you lose them. You lose because you have to be on one side or the other. You have to have, and tell me again, where is the compromise? I'm not going to compromise.
Well, you can compromise if the discussion is, should we spend $1 or $2 on defense? You can have a debate, right, as to what you need.
Right.
If your position is absolutely no military at all, ever,
right,
disarm everyone, well, that's a pretty radical position. Where do you have the compromise on that? We've had compromises, by the way. The compromising that we have had in this country has led to the immorality of putting what we want today on the backs of our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren. That's one of the areas that compromise has led to.
Yeah, right.
So compromise does not always lead to good things. Right. It may solve at the moment the anger of people.
Yeah.
short term.
Yeah.
But what you do is you screw over future generations who can't complain and can't be uncivil because they're not alive yet.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so this is a bunch. If you want to know where BS comes from, this is pure BS by the publisher of the Washington Post. I'm going to head an organization, and we're going to do the research on how to find. Don't have such radical positions, Washington Post. Don't lie.
Yeah.
Stop lying. You want to have civility? Stop lying. Stop saying a biological man can be a biological woman. Stop saying in critical race theory all whites are culturally racist to the point where it's almost in their DNA. Stop lying that police departments are systemically racist across the board. Stop lying that you can defund the police and have a crime-free society if you coddle the criminal.
Stop lying and saying you can power a nation on wind and solar.
Yeah, stop lying there. Stop lying that the border is secure.
It seems like there's an endless list over and over again. And the reason is because the left is lying about everything right now. The Democratic Party can't get through the day without telling multiple lies. They just can't.
And that's why we're so insistent that conservatives don't lie. Do not be like them. You don't have to lie.
Don't even leave a question.
Right.
Be very clear and concise.
Yep.
And truthful. That's all you have to do.
I just love this. I'm joining. I will lead the fight for civility. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That comment makes me uncivil.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's like the greatest minds are going to get together so we can figure out how we bring civility and compromise back. Well, you bring compromise back by not having insane positions on an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to lead us in compromise. The only thing that the way that the left looks at compromise, it's okay as long as there is no dissent from you. As long as you don't disagree, we can all get along.
Compromising is you submitting to my will.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah. Now,
that's how you compromise with me.
We said when Mayorkas said the border is secure, well, from his perspective, it's secure to come across.
Exactly.
For those who want to come across into the U.S.
Much more secure of not getting caught than you used to be.
Oh, yeah. It's secure. Yeah. And so over and over again, we look at their agenda, and it's built on lies. Everything is built on lies. Now, the sunshine in this equation, if you want to look towards something that is positive, is that these issues are not resonating with the American people.
No,
the polls show it.
No.
Now, it's not going to happen overnight, and I don't know how it changes votes, short-term or long-term. I can't make those predictions, but we can look at the polls, and on the issues, we can tell you where, on these issues, where the American people stand, according to the polls. And they are losing. But this idea, here's the compromise. No, because let's say you move further right. And your new job, you leave the post and you go to this new job and you move further right. Well, now you're the oppressor. There is no compromise because the mob will come after you, and you know it.
Well, as we know, for example, on the cultural issues with the Democrats, if you question, and I go back to when the Berkeley professor last summer was before Josh Hawley, and they were talking abortion, and she said, well, birthing persons, and he goes, what does that mean? And he was genuine. He goes, what does that mean? I don't understand what you mean. Are women are the, biological women are the ones that give birth.
Right.
And he was saying, what are you trying to say? Well, what I'm trying to say is that many, and finally she goes, you asking that is advocating, violence and harm.
Yeah.
How? Well, because what you're saying is, because her point was trans women, that men can get pregnant.
Right.
Is in essence what they're saying.
Right.
Because a trans man can get pregnant because a trans man is a biological woman.
Right.
And he started asking those questions, and she said, asking those questions is advocating violence in itself. He goes, what are you talking about? I'm asking questions to find out what you think about biological. We're talking about abortion, so we're talking about birth. We need to come to an idea, as to, birth and how birth happens. And I'm simply asking questions. And she said, nope. What you're saying is wrong. You need to stop it because transgenders have a 25% attempted suicide rate. And you, by not enabling, in essence, the lie, are responsible for their decisions, is the argument she was making, to commit suicide.
Your questions are violence.
Right. Where's the compromise if you can't even ask a question?
Right. There is no compromise.
And where's the compromise if you're told you need to lie in order for me to give you the time of the day? If you won't lie about biology, then we can't have a discussion because you're promoting violence and you're something phobic.
Well, and, at the end of it, the definition of compromise is both sides giving up something. What is the far left willing to give up? If they're willing to concede something, tell me what that is.
Do I have to give up the truth in order to compromise?
Right.
I'm not married. I don't need to do that.
They don't. There is no compromise. Just asking a question is violence.
Right. So we can't even get to the compromise because if I start questioning where we would compromise, you're accusing me of being a violent person because I won't buy into your lie.
Exactly.
If I question your lie, it's violence. How do you compromise? What type of algorithm or mathematics are you going to use in this new panel of civility or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
A bunch of people doing busy work is what it is and accomplishing nothing.
We've decided we're going to get out of the game we're in and we don't want to do it anymore. That's fine. But thinking or trying to convince others that you're going to do this noble thing and compromise and we'll be blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Well, remember, not only is questioning violence, silence is violence.
Well, first, the liberals will be on your case for saying that you are heading the group of civility with the name of Ronald Reagan in it.
Yeah.
They will make you change your name.
Yeah, no. You're what? You're doing something with what?
With Reagan.
With what? Are you? It's over before you start.
I know.
And good luck with that compromise stuff. Yeah.
866-90-RED-I.
This is a big day for rural America.
Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack telling reporters Monday about another major investment to bring high-speed internet to rural areas under the USDA's Reconnect program.
Approximately $714 million being announced today over 33 projects in 19 states. The resources are divided between grants and loans, approximately $421 million in grants, approximately $293 million in loans.
Vilsack says this brings the number of Reconnect projects now up to 142.
Helping 314,000 rural residents across nearly half the states in this country have access to high-speed broadband.
Vilsack said to expect more broadband announcements over the next few months. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
This report is made possible by Cenex Roadmaster XL Premium Diesel and Citgo Lubricants.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. ABC poll on Trump's federal indictment. You ready?
Okay, what do you got?
48% of Americans think Trump was rightfully charged. 35% do not think he should have been indicted. 17%, I don't know. Among political parties, 86% of Democrats, 45% of independents said they supported the indictment. 67% of Republicans disagree with the charges against Trump. According to the poll, 47% of Americans think the charges against Trump are politically motivated. So, 37% said they do not think that the politics has driven the investigation. 16%, I don't know.
Yeah.
So there you go. So about what I would think it would be. I mean, it's half and half or whatever, but I think most understand the politics concerning Trump. Even Democrats know that.
Oh, yeah.
They even know that.
Yeah.
You know.
Look, after the Russian hoax, it's very clear.
Now, he doesn't have a local attorney yet, does he?
He is,
In Miami.
according to the New York Times, he's said to be interviewing attorneys. Now, there are two attorneys that he has used that are licensed to practice in Florida. So we'll see if he goes with one of those two or if it's a whole new team. I just kind of felt yesterday on the program, I mentioned it, but it seemed to me like maybe it would be a time to come in with a whole new legal team. I'm not sure that's going to happen. We'll see, though.
Well, two of his lawyers quit the other day. So.
Yeah, right. So we'll see.
And the reason they gave, a lot of people aren't buying. Well, we thought now that it's gone to this state, we thought that we would, and I'm like, okay, it didn't make sense. Didn't make sense for me what they were saying.
Yeah.
Well, since now this indictment's been handed out, it was time for us to leave. Why?
Yeah. Right.
And
look, you leave when you think you can't win.
And now there's a great debate, we're being told, inside of the Trump camp as to how to fight this. And that's one of the problems with getting lawyers.
Right.
Is if it's going to be scorched earth, a lot of lawyers believe that's the wrong philosophy.
Here's in part from the New York Times. This was yesterday afternoon. It doesn't. There's not a timestamp on it, but it is from yesterday. But Mr. Trump headed to his resort in Miami, where he and his legal team were conducting last-minute interviews with lawyers to represent him when he heads to the federal courthouse on Tuesday afternoon. So Mr. Trump has called for any demonstrations to be peaceful. Because there has been some chatter about his supporters demonstrating outside the courthouse there. We'll see what happens, but I am interested to see how his legal thing comes together. I don't know that it will come together today.
This is bail, arraignment bail. It's not going to be the judge. The judge isn't going to be there. It's a magistrate who will be there. So,
So those are the things that you look for and say, all right, because it could take a minute for him to put an all new team together. But again, that was just the logic that I was thinking of. You kind of want to wipe the slate clean. Not only are your other lawyers leaving, but you want to come in with a new approach, with a new team, and we'll see what that is and how it comes together.
Call in and get a word in edgewise. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara on Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning and welcome. I want to play this audio of CNN analyst shocked by the Hunter Biden case being slow walked.
Okay.
All right, this is on CNN yesterday.
All right.
Here we go.
Point about the Hunter Biden investigation at DOJ. This is preposterous. This has been pending, according to our reporting at CNN, since 2018. 5 years. And this, by the way, this investigation is not the laptop. This investigation is a tax issue. Did Hunter Biden declare his income? And a sort of obscure gun law. Did he possess a gun while he was addicted to drugs, which you're not allowed to do under federal law? Did he lie about that? But 5 years, I mean, that's a 5-week investigation. Somebody, and this spans the Trump administration and the Biden administration. Someone's got to make a call on this case.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. Of course, I'm having problems with my computer. So. But you get the point. And not only is it about Hunter Biden, it's about Joe Biden.
Yeah, this is all about Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's all about Joe Biden.
Nobody needed influence from Hunter. They didn't need anything in return from him, unless, of course, it was a drug deal.
And so was this yesterday? Oh, I guess this morning it came out. Did Joe Biden sell out America? 4 things to know about Democrats' claim. Comer wrote it, and it just contains everything that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. You know, the news that came out yesterday from Grassley that part of what the FBI redacted, and they know because Grassley and Comer have seen the document in full, but one of the things the FBI tried to hide from the other members of Congress was that the Burisma executive, who is now known to be the president of Burisma, the energy company that Hunter Biden served on, the board in Ukraine, we know that the informant has said, this came out last week, that it was a $5 million basically insurance policy, a retainer that went to Hunter and another $5 million to his father.
Yeah.
And that money went in order to keep them on retainer to get them to cooperate when they wanted them to cooperate. The news that came out yesterday, which the FBI tried to, they redacted, which meant they tried to hide it from the rest, and Grassley knew what was in it. Him and Comer knew that they were trying to hide it, and they brought that out yesterday, was the fact that the president of Burisma talked on the phone to Joe Biden twice and Hunter Biden 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept those conversations as an insurance policy, the informant said. Wow. I mean, this thing is just, it's more than drip, drip, drip every day because, you take that and, as we said, the one from last week, which for some reason nobody is commenting on, neither the side trying to debunk it,
right,
or the Republicans when Representative, forgot her name.
Luna,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I was thinking Pula.
Mm-hmm.
Luna came out and said that the FBI indicated to them that the informant's life would be in danger, that he could be killed if his or her name got out there. And we have said, how come that went nowhere? No one ever said, you didn't hear Comer come out or Grassley come out and say, yep, that's true. They indicated that to us also, because that's such a huge point, because it indicates that if that is true and the FBI believes it, then the FBI believes, and it was because of the Hunter Biden investigation, Joe Biden investigation, well, that would mean that either the Burisma people or somebody associated with Hunter or Joe Biden want to kill the informant.
right.
And so you didn't have the Democrats come out and say, that's a load of malarkey. And you didn't have the FBI come out and say, that's not true. Yet you didn't have Comer or Grassley come out and say, oh, yeah, what Luna said is absolutely true. This is what they indicated to us. Because the next question would be, well, why? Then they have investigated this and they find that it's credible.
Right.
Because what would you be saying here? Would you be saying that there's nothing there? If there's nothing there and the Biden family knows they've done nothing wrong and Joe Biden knows he did nothing wrong, therefore Burisma doesn't believe they did anything wrong, why would anybody want to kill this informant based on what he or she has stated about Joe Biden?
Well, I mean, if the FBI has this fear, please tell me that's got to be a pretty strong foundation. It's built on something they know or strongly believe at the FBI. That's the way it was worded. And if that is the case, then I need to know what's behind that. Otherwise, don't put it on Twitter. I mean, if you're not ready to go further with that part of the story, then don't put it on Twitter yet, because that's a huge, huge claim. And part of the concern for me is that I don't want the GOP acting like the Democrats. Don't put something out there that isn't true. We already have an Adam Schiff. We don't need that in the GOP.
So here are the points that Comer made in his letter. The FBI confirmed multiple times during our briefing that the information contained within the record is currently being used in an ongoing investigation. The confidential human source who provided information about then Vice President Biden being involved in a criminal bribery scheme is a trusted, highly credible informant who has been used by the FBI for years and paid six figures. Now, we know that none of these have been argued as being wrong by the FBI.
Right.
The allegations contained within the record track closely with the thousands of pages of financial records obtained by the Oversight Committee. The Bidens have a pattern of using their network of over 20 limited liability companies and complicated financial transactions to hide the sources of the money to evade detection. Despite the growing evidence, the White House and Democrats are lying to the American people. I think that's a direct shot at Jamie Raskin. Are lying to the American people about the allegations contained within this record and what was done with it. Let me set the record straight. First, Democrats are peddling conspiracy theories and alleging the FD 1023 record is based on secondhand hearsay. The FD 1023 record was generated by a trusted confidential source who was working with the FBI for over 10 years. Second, and as we have stated anyway, even if it was hearsay, because what they're saying is the informant who worked for the FBI got it from this person, and that's hearsay. Well, that's like saying the police informant, if you're talking about holding up in court, hearsay evidence is one thing.
Right.
If you're talking about an investigation, hearsay is used all the time.
Well, it's called a witness.
But this informant, in essence, is working for law enforcement,
Right.
and is talking directly to somebody involved in the conspiracy.
Yeah,
That's
the whole
not hearsay
claim, you need to wait until there's a court case, and then you can say that's hearsay. In this case, it's a witness, and you can follow through. By the way, you can follow all of this, to its logical conclusion easily by doing an investigation and then determine what actually is hearsay for the courtroom.
Second, Democrats claim, and this is all Jamie Raskin, second, Democrats claim that the record is part of the documents Rudy Giuliani provided the FBI in January of 2020. That is not true. The FD 1023 document stands on its own and contains information from the FBI's confidential human source dating back to another FD 1023 generated in 2017. Third, the FD 23 was generated by the FBI in June of 2020 based on other FBI records dating back to 2017. the Department of Justice conducted an assessment on separate material provided to the department in January 2020, and the assessment was closed in August of 2020. Democrats are claiming that the DOJ investigated the FD 1023 and then took no action, but the FBI has refused to answer what information was part of their assessment. How could the DOJ have conducted a credible, thorough investigation in 4 weeks? It's not possible. And last, let's be very clear, the allegations in the record are not closed. FBI officials and former Attorney General William Barr have refuted Democrats' lies that the Biden bribery investigation was closed. On the contrary, it was sent to Delaware for further investigation. Former Attorney General Barr said this week about the record. So Republicans are going to follow the facts and ensure accountability for the American people.
Yeah.
Well, then good. If you're going to do that, then please tell us about Luna's claim that the FBI is scared for the life of the informant if his or her name is known.
Right.
And who are they fearful? Where do they believe the threats will come from? Because this is concerning Hunter Biden. You and I even asked a question early on. Are they talking about the Hunter Biden investigation or this informant that had done other things for them if his name became known? And Luna made it clear in her statement on Twitter that it was because of the Biden investigation. Well, that's important because, as we've stated before, that would mean either somebody in the Biden family wishes to get rid of him or somebody in Burisma, because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about influence peddling between Burisma and the Biden family and Joe Biden. And that's a very critical piece of information to not let just hang out there.
Well, that's it. You don't just float something that big and not follow up. Either don't float it at all or complete it with everything you know. What's the basis for that statement?
So every day it's tick, 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 tick. Actually, not tick, tick, tick. Drip, 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 drip.
And I think that's,
and then Comer's going to review 2 more FBI informant documents this week that they just learned about. And the other thing Comer's been talking about over and over again is the FBI didn't admit that this existed until we told them we knew it existed. Then they came clean about it.
Yeah.
And now they're redacting things. I think that's what Grassley was trying to make the point, that the FBI is still stalling on this because they're redacting things so the other general members of Congress can't see it, stuff they've already seen in the document. For example, that, you've got audio somewhere on this.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, my gosh. And you have to believe that audio still exists.
Well, the president of Burisma was apparently using it
as an insurance policy.
Yeah.
So in today's world especially, it's not like you have to have it on a cassette tape, right?
Yeah.
If it's digital or been digitized at all, it can be pretty much all over the world or anywhere in the world. That is mind-boggling to think about, because if something like that comes out and it implicates a current president and lines up a quid pro quo,
it's done.
It's over.
It's done at that point, yeah. Then welcome Gavin Newsom to the race.
That's it. Exactly.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
Hey, it's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Be interesting to see what the scene is like today in that Miami courtroom.
Yeah.
And be interesting to see if he gets a local lawyer, because that's one thing they talk about. You want to have a local lawyer that's familiar with the magistrate and other judges. Now, this will not be the judge that will actually sit over the trial.
No, the magistrate is Jonathan Goodman, and he will not be a permanent part of it. He even wrote a short statement saying that. And typically in that role, they just kind of go through the procedural things, and today is going to be about bail, and then they'll go from there. I also think that, because the media is kind of picking apart the legal team moves that have happened in recent days, and the two top lawyers, the lead lawyers that he had, basically wrote a statement saying this is the natural progression of things, and that the case moving, in Florida. But they also said that they're not going to be a part of the January 6th case either any longer. So they said this is the natural thing, and we're honored to be a part of the team up to this point. But who will be the lead in the team going forward in this case in Florida? I guess we'll learn soon enough.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.